there have been concerns raised about the health of Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and his ability to steer the ship of governance in the state. Recent events in the state, particularly in relation to Governor Akeredolu's health and his involvement in significant administrative decisions, have raised serious questions about potential medical coercion. Medical coercion refers to the practice of influencing or forcing an individual to make decisions detrimental to their health or against medical advice. This is a matter of grave concern, as it can, of course, severely impact the individual's decision-making capacity and overall governance.
Hence the petition by Dr. Charles Oludare Marindoti to the Attorney General of the Federation to investigate the nature of Governor Akeredolu's return from medical treatment in Germany and the choice to stay back in Ibadan, whether it was a discharge against medical advice, DAMA, or under doctor's instructions. Now recall that there are reports that some family members and aides of the ailing Governor Rotimi Akeredolu have been forging his signatures on official memos. The revelation was made by a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, on Monday, adding that some commissioners in the Ondo State government had been signing official documents in the name of the ailing Governor Akeredolu. Let's now bring in Dr. Charles Oludare Marindoti. He's a medical doctor and the convener, Social Rehabilitation, Grace and Support Initiative. Good morning, Dr. Marindoti, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Osarogie. Thanks for having me.
All right, talk to us about this petition that you've launched and you know what exactly you're expecting.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I want to first off start with, talking about Dr. Akeredolu from the human point of view. I believe, in politics, a lot of the conversations get lost, and the things that we should focus on, we miss it. Governor Akeredolu might be a politician, but he's first a human. So we should take off our political hat and put on our human face and approach this from that point of view. Governor Akeredolu is a patriot of Nigeria. We have to talk, maybe some people don't know, he was Attorney General during Abacha regime in Ondo State. For Ondo State, he, was the president of NBA. He ran election 3 times, lost 1, and won twice. So he defended our constitution. He defended the people. When the bandits were running amok in Southwest, he fought for, Amotekun. So he is a patriot. So we need, all of us, need to think about his health first, you see. So the reason why I got worried about, the kind of care and quality of care that Governor Akeredolu is getting is, when I saw the caretaker, list and the local government development area caretaker, chairman, and then the caretaker for local governments, the list of the people that were, appointed were about 102, the chairman and their vices. And when you think about it, let's just do a little bit of mathematics, like 102. Let's say he had 3 selections for each of the posts, because definitely I know a lot of people that were vying for the post never got it. So out of those 3 selections, let's just say 303. Let's say it took him 10 minutes to, scrutinize each one of them. That's like about over 3,000 hours. That's over 3,000 minutes, sorry. That's over 51 hours. That is a lot of work for someone who is supposedly, at least by the rumor, suffering, recovering or being treated for cancer. This is the same governor that we feel is not fit enough to come to Ondo State. Ondo State is just about a 2-hour drive from Ibadan. This is someone that we consider is not fit enough to get on a chopper, fly maybe 30 minutes to Ondo State. And he is being made to undergo this rigorous amount of work. I am getting worried. We need to think about the concept of, freedom or informed consent when it comes to patients. When people talk about medical coercion, they think of it as just doctors forcing you to do things against your will. But let me give you a simple example of common medical coercion that does not have as grave a repercussion as one that I'm worried about right now, concerned about right now. You have malaria. You want to take drugs for your malaria. The doctor feels you should take drugs, but your mother wants you to get injection. So your mother now tells you, if you don't get this injection, I won't buy you your Christmas clothes. So you went and got an injection. What has happened there? That is a form of medical coercion. So I am, because I was in Ondo State during, in July, And I spoke on the radio and I told the state people to pray for the governor because I know that, if leukemia that was rumored in the media is what he has, I know leukemia is one of the few cancers that science has really made headway on. We have immunotherapies right now that are so effective, whereby they can even design the drug specifically for the type of cancer that the person has, and it is very effective. But this is a long journey. It comes with a lot of side effects, diarrhea, severe pain, sometimes even loss of consciousness. So the governor needs time to take care of himself. While political office holders are public properties, right? The only one time that they are allowed to be selfish is when it comes to their own well-being. Governor Akeredolu can fight for the power. We hold power from between now and January of, I think it's February 25, 2025. But he will have his life to hold on to beyond that point. And I want to see a case whereby Governor Akeredolu survives this battle with cancer. This is the biggest battle in the life of Governor Akeredolu. He has fought so many elections free that he lost one, and he lost one, two. But this is the biggest battle in his life. So we need to ensure that this man is, is getting the right care that he wants, that he's not being held ransom, that he's not being held hostage, that they don't hold his pain medication hostage in exchange for a signature. We used to joke in medical parlance that if you want to get a man to sign away his life for you, just hold on to his catheter when he's having a bladder obstruction. He will give you anything you want. That is a joke. So when someone is sick, we have all been sick, malaria, common malaria. It is a compromised position. Olive, Osarogie, you guys are working right now. If you had common malaria
Dr. Marindoti,
and your boss is forcing you, yes.
Okay, because we're going really, really far. I just want you to clarify. Are you saying that what is currently going on with the Ondo State governor is that he is likely or possibly being denied certain levels of medical attention in order to get him to sign documents and force him to give his assent to certain things as the governor of the state? Is that the situation you're saying is likely going on in Ondo State?
I don't know, and that's why I wrote this letter to the Attorney General to investigate, just so that we are sure that the governor's best interest is primarily being protected. Then also to ensure that there's effective governance in Ondo State, which is also very important. But the primary objective is to be sure that the governor's primary interest is protected. We don't know right now. They say the governor cannot. When you think about it, the governor can get on something called a mobile phone, right? Do a live stream on Facebook, and we know that he's sick. That is, getting better. We know his state of, because I am coming from a position of care. I watched the video where the Governor Akeredolu was with the Southwest governor, and I could see that his right hand was a little bit swollen, which is just something like someone whose infusion went in tissue and his hand got swollen, which is, common for people who are still receiving active care. Do you get? So the kind of workload that is being hoisted on the governor when his sole priority should be getting better, it is worrisome to me.
So shouldn't
you see all these checks?
Yeah. So shouldn't the conversation be you advising, and of course other people advising Governor Akeredolu to step down if it is not clear that he is physically fit, health-wise, to handle the affairs of being governor of Ondo State? From what you've said, and if not just yourself, there are rumors about the ailment that he might be dealing with. It might be leukemia, it might be something else, but of course nobody knows, 100%. And there's also, of course, talks about him being in Ibadan instead of being in Ondo State. So shouldn't, the call be that he steps aside? If, he's going to be honest enough, let there be a proper medical screening of the governor. Maybe, ordered by the State House of Assembly, let his health details be put in public, and then we can decide, or the people of Ondo State can decide, or the House of Assembly can decide if he will remain governor or he be asked to step aside. Shouldn't that be the call?
I'll come from it from also a point of care. I believe is medical, health information are private and personal. And as a medical doctor, that is going to always be my stance.
But that's the problem, because we did this thing in the past administration. We've done it before with,
yes,
a former president who eventually passed on. This whole excuse of medical information being private. Do you still have that level of privacy when you are meant to be determining the trajectory of a state?
Yes, I'll try and get to that, Osarogie. You're right, because there are definitely things that the state can do in terms of like the country, in terms of like maybe constitutional amendment and all. But you have to talk about what you think about when it comes to someone being informed. There are two parts that are very important in that. One is, liberty. The other is agency. Liberty means that your decisions are made absent any outside or any undue influence. And agency means that you have the ability to make intentional decisions. So when you say the governor should resign or step aside, that might not be up to him at this point, because he might have lost liberty or agency, which is why I'm worried about medical coercion, because we all know the position that a healthy Governor Akeredolu held when Yaradua.
But we're making the same point. If a governor is not healthy enough, from what you're describing, if he's not healthy enough because he's lost liberty or agency, he's not even healthy enough to decide whether he is healthy enough to remain governor. Isn't that, obviously a governor that cannot be, in government house? Isn't that someone who cannot decide on anything concerning that state? If he can't, from what you're describing, can't even decide whether he's healthy enough to be governor, how does he decide on the... Go ahead.
You are right. I understand where you're coming from. We don't know, because Governor Akeredolu has not spoken to us or addressed the state, just a voice note. Do you understand? But the way the Constitution is being structured, which is why I feel like our politicians should have actively addressed this, maybe during the Yaradua period, or when the Taraba State Governor, I think Dan Baba, also had an accident. That, if you take a look at it, the Constitution requires the governor to transmit to the National Assembly, or for the cabinet members to institute, request an inquiry or an inquest. Now, if, like the case of Dan Baba, who had an accident and he was no longer mentally there, he was essentially in a vegetative state, how do you expect that person to transmit to the National Assembly? That is the number one question. Then the number two is, in the case whereby you rely on the cabinet to institute a medical inquest, how do you expect cabinet members who see the governor's subsistence in that position as their only grip to power to start that process? This is why, we need to keep on reviewing. The Constitution is a living document. We need to keep on reviewing it. Maybe the Constitution can make a provision whereby there will be a time whereby if the governor or the president has not been within its territory for, let's say, 3 months, then automatically a medical inquest gets instituted. That then takes it away from a governor who might have lost the capacity to make that decision, or a cabinet who might be holding the governor or the president hostage. Because you can't tell me that a Yaradua who, when Yaradua was sick, I was in medical school, the rumor then was that he had Chokes syndrome. We had to read about it. It was very serious. We don't know for a fact. But if that was it and the guy was in ICU, how then do you expect Yaradua, who is in intensive care, to relinquish power? It might not be up to him, but the people around him who see him as the only avenue to access power will, they will hold him hostage against his own will. So definitely we need to have a constitutional amendment. When the 25th amendment in the United States is what we try to copy in our section 128. This 25th amendment started after JFK was assassinated, whereby they now said, okay, let us have a plan for succession. They have a line of succession, but they didn't really have a plan. So that was, and that is also incident on the fact that the cabinet members will have the integrity to do what is best for the state or for the country. But it seems as if the integrity of the cabinet members in Ondo State is questionable, because they are not, I don't believe they are doing things at the best interest of the governor. If the Governor Akeredolu was my father, if anybody brought a file for him to sign, I will get in a fisticuff with that person. It will be a fight. Anybody who is not a doctor talking to him about how he will get better, I will have a problem with it. But you see, when people are trying to hold on to power for too long, then that is why these old things start, to occur. I am worried that maybe the governor might be held hostage against his own will by the people who are supposed to be his caregivers. So that is why I want an investigation into the what led to him leaving Germany. Because a lot of all these, immunotherapies or whatever, I don't know what is going to, I'm just speculating, right? A lot of them have specific temperature control, humidity control that it must be so that the drug is being given. A lot of them even have to be made and used within maybe 20 days or something. How is he getting his medication? All those things we need to know, because we have to take care of Governor Akeredolu. He is a superhuman being, but he's not Superman.
Yeah, well,
he has powers,
the
but
thing
he's
is,
not Wolverine.
yeah, the thing is, it may not be too difficult figuring out, what brought him back from Germany. It might really just be because he didn't want to stay out of the country, out of the state, beyond what is legally allowed for him before he's then forced to fully hand over. Maybe that's why he returned. But I think you did speak a little bit about this, but the Nigerian constitution is also very clear as to what processes we should go through when a person doesn't seem to be, through his health challenges, capable of running the affairs of a state. Let me share with you. It's section 189, and it says the governor or deputy governor of a state shall cease to hold office if, by resolution passed by 2/3 majority of members of the Executive Council, it is declared that the governor is incapable of discharging functions of his office. The declaration in paragraph of this subsection is verified after such medical examination may be necessary by a medical panel established under Section 4 of the section, and it's reported to the Speaker of the House of Assembly. So the challenge that the people of Ondo State have now is that it's not likely that a proper medical examination will be carried out to determine the health status of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Neither do you expect that the State House of Assembly will push for a medical examination to be carried out on the governor. Is that where we are?
Yes, and Osarogie, what you just read was essentially what I addressed in my last diatribe, that the resolution has to be passed by 2/3 of the members of the State Executive Council, the commissioners and the SSGs and all of that. These people see Governor Akeredolu as their own least power. So will they pass a resolution? Will they rock the boat that they are on? Will they pass a resolution that might lead to the deputy governor coming into office and then maybe kicking them out? Because they serve at the mercy
not
of
very
the
likely.
governor. So this is...
Do you have any information, just to ask you, do you have any information on because there was news reports on President Buhari, not President Buhari now, I beg your pardon, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stepping into the crisis in Ondo State. I remember that there were issues with the deputy governor, Aiyedatiwa, hoping to be named governor or, handle the affairs of the state. But of course, people went to Abuja, President Tinubu stepped in, and, somehow, some way things were settled. Do you have any information on that?
I don't have an information aside what's available in public, but I have an observation or an inference. It's like when President Tinubu, called Governor Fubara and former Governor Wike together. Governor Tinubu is a mediator. He's not going to tell them what to do. He will tell them, you guys talk to each other, settle it. So when they were now coming up with the stories of the governor asking for the president's say, they were actually very they used a lot of tags. They did say the president said that he should write an unsigned resignation letter. They said the resolution they reached with the government, that is, they reached the resolution, that is, they made the demand for the deputy governor to sign an undated letter of resignation. The President Tinubu will not give his own 2 cents or give his own opinion about it. They are adults. They should be able to settle their problems. President Tinubu was said by former Governor Fashola that when Ladoja in Ibadan, who was in an opposition party, was illegally impeached, it was President Tinubu that sponsored his court case that got him back into office. Is it that man that will now ask, that same man with that history, that will now ask someone to go and write an undated letter of resignation, someone who was elected? That will be tantamount to impeaching democracy. I believe it is just that the House of Assembly members are trying to impeach democracy by asking the governor to go and sign and submit an undated resignation letter to President Tinubu? Like, are they daycare children that you need to go and write a letter and then go and give the president? The president has bigger fish to fry, not to be worrying about badly behaving adults fighting like secondary school children on the playground. So I don't think the what should occur is simple. The deputy governor should be acting governor. Then the affairs of the states can go on. Nobody in Ondo State that I've even heard of is pushing for that section 189 that you have read, because that will lead to the ouster of the governor, of Governor Akeredolu. We love our governor and we want him to get better. We have a lot of sympathy for him. If Governor Akeredolu should come back to Ondo State now, today, it will be a triumphant entry. The whole state will be celebrating because they want him to be well. He fought for them, he defended them, he dedicated his life to them. But the affair, the show must go on. The wheel has to keep on turning. The way for that to happen is for the deputy governor to become acting governor. And Governor Akeredolu still remains the governor. And for as long as he draws breath, and when he gets better, he comes back and he automatically maintains his power. The deputy governor has nothing to do with it. But the cabal or the cabinets are, I don't know what. I think their problem is politics of next year.
Yeah,
I think
does this also include
that the governor? Yes.
From the way you see, does this also include the Attorney General of Ondo State? Because your letter is written to the Attorney General of the Federation. Ondo State has its own Attorney General. You completely ignored him.
A commissioner of justice. Yes, that's also because of my skepticism about the cabinet. You see, I have a skepticism about the cabinet, medical coercion by maybe members of the cabinet. So I felt like writing to the Commissioner of Justice. Yes, you're very right, Osarogie. The Commissioner of Justice in Ondo State should take the lead role in this. But if the cabinet is, compromised and he is a member of the cabinet, it might be a little bit, iffy or not a smart move to go that direction.
Dr. Marindoti, we, of course, will follow up on how things turn out in Ondo State. Of course, it's governance that suffers in this time. It's embarrassing to hear that a governor is not even in his state. He doesn't, of course, he's been there. This is his second term. Doesn't have any health facility in his state, that he could get medical care. He went to Germany and then he's back from Germany and now he's in Ibadan. Embarrassing. Dr. Marindoti, thanks very much for stopping by. We'll see you again.
Thanks a lot, Osarogie. Thanks, Olive.